All right, so where are we, Mike? What are we doing?
We are going to be talking about, so today's November 11th, 2021. We're going to be talking about Glaxon's upcoming launches that Joey has for us here. And we're going to kick it off with some Goon mode, which just launched today, is on the site. And I don't know if it'll still be on sale by the time this video is live, but there's an awesome deal going on. And so this is a gaming supplement that is nootropic, lightly energized, I guess you could say. I'd like you could talk about it, and then we're going to get into the other supplements, some of which are lined up here on the video.
Yeah, I just want to give, like, for point of reference, yesterday a hype video went up that said 8 products in the pipeline. I need one of those.
Oh, I'm sorry.
8 products in the pipeline coming before 2022. My understanding is that video was shot at a different time than what's actually happening. But this video is about all the cool shit you have coming.
So these are definitely 2 out of the 8. There's 2 more that are sitting here on the table. And there's 2 more that haven't launched yet. There's another one that hasn't launched yet. So as far as like I can think of, I can at least account from today's launches at least 7 out of those 8 products. I don't know, what did we launch last week? Plasma Surge Candy Cane. The week before that was Zerion.
Zerion and Honey Bourbon.
Zerion and Honey Bourbon. So yeah, I mean, it depends. Like that thing was filmed a while ago, and even like 8 was a conservative number. We definitely still have 7 left, including Goon and Neuro 365. But like, Goon's pretty interesting. It's meant to where it can be taken in a super modular fashion. If you're a casual gamer and you only want to sit down for like a couple hours and play some games, you can do as much as 4 scoops in one setting. But you can also do 1 scoop. You can do 2 scoops. We have a really interesting dosage walkthrough on our label that you can actually see. And it tells you all the different things you're getting. But if you want the full-blown experience, then 4 scoops is where it's at, where you'll end up yielding 250 milligrams of caffeine. You'll actually get the full 100% daily value of choline from VitaCholine as choline bitartrate. And you'll get 4 grams of Astrolite, and you'll get 400 milligrams of the Brain Factor 7 that's in there. So those are like the peak levels you want to be at, is that 4 scoop serving. Usually if you're someone who's like a longer gamer, that if you're going to be doing a long session, we made it this way so you can actually take like multiple servings if you want something to drink the whole time. If you're a complete freak of nature and you want to mix this thing up with like different dosages of hybrid, you can do like 2 scoops Goon, 1 scoop hybrid, 2 scoops Goon, 1 scoop hybrid, and taking, Neuro 365, your 3 capsules throughout the whole session. That's what we're like kind of like putting together as our ultimate gaming stack.
Awesome. Should I try to show the label up on the video here?
I wouldn't worry about
like
it.
Like a picture-in-picture? I'm down with this. If you can do picture-in-picture, let's do Hollywood Magic Mike.
So while he's doing that, I poured out some Team Red for both of us. I got to ask, what team are you?
I'm not on a team.
Okay.
I mean, I would like to consider myself like a creator of the game in this sense.
Oh, I like it. Oh, cool.
You're the architect.
Yeah.
All right, so we have the label up for just a little bit here. And sharing my little web browser window.
Oh, nice.
Got the Astrolite and everything. There's a choline. So this is the L isomer of choline bitartrate, which is important because if you got regular choline,
it's racemic and it's half pure.
And so basically, can your brain not use the R at all?
I'm sure it can. It has to probably do some sort of conversion through some sort of racemase enzyme, and it can convert it back into the L form. Mm-hmm. It's just extra steps. So,
and you don't want to bottleneck or waste your enzymes doing stuff
that
you don't need to be doing.
I mean, I don't think my
enzymes. We have 4 scoops in both of these. So for people watching at home, Mike and I are going to consume
the full
4 scoops.
Whammer.
Yeah, because we're gonna go in. We also got to work out at some point. So
cheers.
But anyway,
I didn't realize that was going to happen.
This flavor is strong. Well, I asked him for flavor purposes how much should I put in, so I did 4 scoops for the flavor purpose. You don't have to finish it. I'm gonna finish mine though.
Is it heavy-handed?
It was rounded scoops.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Is the flavor heavy-handed at 16?
I'm catching cherry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is red.
Red. I have.
This is better than the lab samples I've had, for the record.
I'm going to pull the label down.
It's a bunch of red fruits. That's why it's Team Red.
It's tasty. I'm a big fan of the Goon flavors, or the flavors and the effects. But I used the product for quite a while playing video games, and I enjoyed it. I always enjoy it.
Well, there's a whole bunch of things that I like about it. I like the 100% DV value on choline. That and you could say you can do this with other forms of choline. It would be really ridiculous to hit this with alpha GPC or CDP choline. It would just cost too much. And Mike and I were having like a conversation about the phosphocholine and how that's actually, your more superior form, but no one's really done anything with that one yet.
We were having that conversation the other day.
Oh, no, that was you?
Yeah.
Okay, that was you.
Because the egg study.
Right, and we were talking about, consuming eggs and the type of choline that's found in eggs and how it's actually like probably the most best performing and most bioavailable. The other thing about phosphocholine is it does stuff to your GI tract. It helps your gut move along a little bit too. So there's a lot that goes on.
As
there.
in a laxative effect, or
just a motility effect? Not. I wouldn't say laxative. It's not gonna give you diarrhea or anything, but it definitely keeps things moving along. And then when you see it in stores, it's like one of the first things that they kind of pitch it for is gut health. Another thing is we have probably our most comprehensive B vitamin panel in here. So we got, 1, 2, 3. We don't have 5. We do have 6. We have 9. We have 12. And the form of vitamin B9 is the arcofolins, the 92%.
I was just going to point that out. Yeah, you got the good folate in here. I've never actually heard of arcofolin before this. I've been looking into the different forms of folate. And you see a cheap vitamin's got folic acid.
Sure.
This is
the most pure form of methylfolate you can get. It's 92%. Yeah. There's calcium salts, which are, obviously, because calcium's a heavier ion, that it's going to be less folic per serving. And then the quattrofolic, which is a glucosamine salt, which is even bigger than calcium, is going to deliver less actual methylfolate per serving. But this one's the sharpest one.
Can you talk to us about brain factor?
Oh, I can talk to you about brain factor. So the thing about it, I was super skeptical because silk amino acids have popped up before.
BPI.
Yeah, and you can't convince me that there's any logical reason why a silk amino acid would be taken over any other kind of amino acid just because it comes from a silkworm. And cool, that's a neat way to manufacture it, but it's not going to give you any added benefits over just any other traditional amino acid. So when I saw this at first, I was super skeptical, but I was like, oh, wait a minute. It's not just amino acids, it's peptides. And if you've got, peptides that are 2 and 3 amino acids long, those can actually get absorbed intact. And from the clinical data they have so much clinical data. They've got clinical data in children, adolescents, adults, and then the cognitively impaired elderly. And in every single one, they've got measures of learning and working memory that actually increase. So it looked like something that was actually something that would be productive. The other thing that it does is it helps keep acetylcholine levels high, which it's not an acetylcholine esterase inhibitor, but it's through some unknown mechanisms that it keeps acetylcholine levels abundant. That combined with 100% DV of the vitacholine is really cool. So that's why I liked it. There's rumors and stuff online if you check out forums where people are talking about it actually increasing IQ points. I'm not going to go quite that far with it, but we did say that, with a whole bunch of puffery on the label that you might get telekinetic powers and so on and so forth.
Cool. So beyond gaming, and Goon's been sought after for quite some time recently, but beyond gaming, we also have take your pick of what you want to talk about: Anomaly, A80+, Neuro 365.
We're on the subject of nootropics. So do you want to talk about Neuro 365?
I can transition from Goon to Neuro to. We'll go to NAD Synergy with a little bit of a Xerion and then to Anomaly because they've got underlying themes that are similar. So Neuro 365 is, I guess, an elaboration of some formulas I've done in the past where I became incredibly captivated with the ideas of long-term potentiation, neuroplasticity, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and how all three of those concepts are kind of interwoven with each other and how they're all centered around what is the Nmda receptor. A lot of people, some people know about the Nmda receptor from D-aspartic acid. It's one of the major sites where D-aspartic acid binds. Also, N-methyl D-aspartic acid, a D-aspartic acid derivative, is also where that one binds. And it's actually N-methyl D-aspartic acid is the endogenous ligand of this place. When you activate the Nmda receptors, there is some excitatory stuff that goes on. Some people have concerns over what's called excitotoxicity, where a neuron can get so excited it dies. We've tried to mitigate that, and some other different formulas have tried to mitigate that before with using magnesium, but we threw some theanine in here, which actually helps modulate that a bit. But yeah, so neuroplasticity is something where is a vague term for any kind of changes in how the neurons communicate. There's two ways that this can happen. One is long-term potentiation, where a neuron can form stronger bonds to other neurons, especially, it's like broadband for your central nervous system, if you want to think of it that way. And that's, in opposition to the concept of long-term depression, where signals from the brain don't get transmitted as well, and it's just not as efficient. So that's long-term depression. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is promote long-term potentiation. So basically, your neurons from your brain are firing, to your pinky toes, and in the sense of gamers, to their actual fingers and their digits, so they can actually move those things a little bit better. And because it's one of our 365 products, it's something that's meant to be taken year round. You'll notice a 30 serving size on this, so you get a full month supply and everything. We have the LTP factors, which are things that are pretty central to the Nmda receptor. We got D-serine, which has even been theorized as the true endogenous ligand of the Nmda receptor, but it's really something, that receptor is really there for glycine and a couple other things. But you'll notice that we have sarcosine in here, which is an N-methylglycine, and we have dimethylglycine. Anyone who's taken a pre-workout that's got betaine anhydrous, that's the trimethylglycine. And if you've taken Tranquility, you had no methylations on your glycine, you just had glycine by itself. So there's 4 members of this family, and we're accounting for the 2 of them that we haven't talked about in any other formulas before as methyl group donors, but these are also things that will co-bind to the Nmda receptor. So D-serine is pretty much like our star player in activating this, but it's supported by sarcosine, it's supported by dimethylglycine.
Wow. Okay.
Nice. Okay, yeah. So...
Well, and you finish it off with your Lipidox, which...
I mean, we put that shit in everything. Capsules.
Well, I think that, I don't mind. I don't know if you want to talk about this. I have that full video of your talk at Supply Side, but Lipidox has been a bit of a focus for you. You can totally opt out of this conversation.
It's a foreshadowing. There's a seriously long-term thing. We can talk about this. This could be like a whole new podcast on its own, as far as like the story of how I found this new delivery system. But just for the people at home, Lipidox is foreshadowing. It is a proto delivery system for a more advanced delivery system that is currently being developed.
To deliver anything specifically, or just
anything that's like got shit solubility? It's like curcumin, a lot of polyphenols and stuff. So we kind of like skirt around this by using DR caps. The second thing is using Lipidox to try to facilitate some lymphatic absorption of these things, because you have 2 circulatory systems, not just the blood. You can go around that and go through the lymph if it's fat soluble enough. Flavonoids are super suspect in this whole group, because flavonoids get kicked out pretty quickly. Your cytochrome enzymes identify them and they break them down into metabolites. But if you can find a way to use something like, I don't know, bioperin to get around that, or the DR caps to go straight to the intestine, you don't have as much breakdown and you can actually get some bioavailability. In the new delivery system, we've had some of these flavonoids have an increase in solubility of 3,000%, which is fucking
times.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's not percent. It's 3,000 times.
Not percent. 3,000 times.
Wow. Okay, so that's far better than the bioperin or piperine and curcumin's 2,000%.
Right.
That's okay. We're talking
3,000 times over. Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Interesting.
Wow. But I can tell you a little bit more about this, off air. But back to Neuro 365, other cool things, we have Neurofactor in here, which you guys know and we know is something that will stimulate BDNF. The new one, Subroxy, which is from Sabinsa. It's a really cool extract for the Roxolin A. That one also has some activity on BDNF, but there's plenty of other things that Subroxy does too. Yeah.
It's very unique. This seems like this is going to be different than anything anyone's ever taken.
Well, yeah, and that's what we always want to try to do. Is we want to bring something new to the table, something that's super stackable with everything else we have, or you could take it with Goon and hybrid and all that stuff, because you're really you're cooking on a 4-top stove, you're doing a couple of different things, but you can pull off the meal all at the same time.
Can I ask you what the Rhodiola extract? Now, you guys don't claim a lot of extracts or standardizations because you don't want to give people the secrets, but also I think just from a regulatory standpoint too, but. Is that more a Roosevelt or a Solidricide focus? Because
that's got to be Solidricide.
We've been playing with this, yeah.
Unless he's got a third.
Well, I mean, crenulata. So, like, crenulata is a completely different species. It's funny because the rhodiola market had a little bit of adulteration with, people would sell you rhodiola rosea and they'd send you crenulata. And a lot of people haven't really looked into the research on crenulata. And there's some pretty cool stuff there because it's grown in super, super high altitudes in like Siberia and China and all this other stuff. But the locals there use it in traditional medicine for altitude sickness. So it's like, okay, can this like actually like get better oxygen delivery? Like, how is this working? And there's a lot of unknowns about rhodiola crenulata, but I liked it because it had all these different effects as far as improving blood oxygenation. Possibly there's some effects on cerebral blood flow. Actually, that's one of the things on brain factor 7. It improves cerebral blood flow as well. And I think it does that through a similar mechanism as vinpocetine by blocking calcium channels. But the idea is we went with this rhodiola. This is actually the same rhodiola that was found in Adrenal. And we were just doing it to be different because it's got a completely different story to it. Does it have rosavins and salidrosides? Yes. How much? Unknown, because no one's really done that kind of research, and no one's trying to standardize rhodiola crenulata yet.
Cool. So that takes us to NAD+, I think was your track?
Yeah. Okay, so the idea is we're doing this kind of stuff. We're causing long-term potentiation. We're trying to build better highways and stuff in the central nervous system. We're trying to get your brain to be a little bit more broadband. This is something, potentially having long-term repercussions is good for you. It might make it less likely for you to get, the cognitive defects that are associated with aging. And NAD, synergy, and it's really this stack right here. If you really want to be all up on your longevity, NAD, synergy, and Xerion. And Xerion is mostly focused about blood sugar control and all that kind of stuff. It does have the bio-NMN from NMB in there. But we also wanted to make something that was just strictly in the NAD, focus. So what we did is we ended up coming up with this formula. We found 2 different ways of blocking different enzymes that could usually break down NAD into nicotinamide or whatever kind of metabolites there are. And we decided to block the CD38, and the second one, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but there's a second enzyme that's involved in the breakdown of NAD, and we chose to go after them. And I think both of them will block CD38, but there's something about apigenin that's more unique where it goes after the other enzyme. So we're trying to block the breakdown. No, it's quercetin, and it's PARP1, which is poly-ADP ribose phosphorylase.
There we go.
So number one, there's like a subset of half a dozen.
I was stoked when I saw this article because you did what I had a stacking section in our NMN article I wrote about, and then I talked about using like parsley to get the apigenin, and then quercetin. I'm a huge fan of that, but I only talked about the CD38 inhibition, so it sounds like I got to update that. But the quercetin I'm already talking about in that article, so it sounds like there's more to the story than I had researched. I was going pretty far down that rabbit hole, and it's
So aside from the things we know about just general metabolism in NAD, it has to do with sirtuin activity.
Should we back up? We haven't really defined NAD for those listening. I think we jumped in too deep too quickly. We have a supplement here. The ingredient is called bio-NMN, so it's an NMN ingredient, nicotinamide mononucleotide, I believe, and very close at least. And so this helps boost NAD levels. What is NAD+?
So NAD is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, and it's used as a cofactor in a whole bunch of different reactions inside the body. And I think I've got it in my script as far as like supplement lab is concerned. It's like 90% of the reactions in your body are somewhat dependent at some part, upstream or downstream, on NAD's activity. So there's that. It has a cousin, the riboflavin cousin, called FMN, or flavin mononucleotide, or FAD, which is flavin adenine dinucleotide. What these are derivatives of riboflavin and niacin that get activated, they get turned into the coenzyme form, and these coenzymes can participate in these hugely abundant reactions. I mean, we're talking like everything from like glycolysis to the DNA damage response. I mean, it's all over the place. So these things are essential to everything. And the other thing is they decrease with aging. So as you get older, your body's not as good at recycling, what's called the NAD pool. So it's the downstream metabolites and then also the precursors to NAD and how well these things get cycled through. And because those decrease with age, it's also associated with decrease in metabolic efficiency. So, one of the things that your body can do to make more NAD and to activate some of those pathways involved is actually exercise. And if you don't exercise as much, like older people tend not to do, they're just not as metabolically efficient. So this is kind of a hack around that, but it's not something that people should lean on entirely.
Yeah, we never like to say that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Exercise.
And there's going to be more and more things that, most of our products, if you exercise, they're going to do so much better than if you don't exercise. Sure, you can not exercise and take NAD Synergy or Dr. Creatine or whatever you want to. But the effects just aren't going to be near as pronounced as if you actually were exercising, because there's so much of that stimuli from physical activity that's necessary to make these things actually work.
Could Beba synergize in well with that? Because of
Oh,
that?
yeah. Oh yeah, like there's so many ways that you could really skin this like longevity cat. So thermal and Beba, that could definitely play well into this, and Anomaly is something that also can play well into this as far as like the longevity play, because if you're not working out or anything, you're gonna have muscle wasting and you're gonna lose muscle mass, quicker and more quickly as you age, and until you end up with sarcopenia, which is like the clinical manifestation of muscle loss.
Yeah.
And that's really like what Anomaly is kind of designed for. Anomaly is called Anomaly because it is centered around this peptide network that was discovered by artificial intelligence.
I wanted to bring that into this, so if you can talk about that.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for like 6 months for him to actually talk about this, because he kept putting it off because he didn't want to talk about it until it was out. So.
Okay, so we're done with NAD Synergy.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about Anomaly, which is a muscle booster, right?
And a breakdown inhibitor. So
Okay.
it's a double-edged sword there. But the breakdown inhibition is really supported by the second ingredient, the GG Gold. But we can get into that. So
AI?
Yeah, AI. Like, who is doing this kind of stuff, and what kind of stuff are they looking at? There's this company over in Ireland called Neuroplasticity, and it's one of a handful of these AI, nutraceutical / drug discovery programs that are looking at different natural products and trying to find things with any kind of activity that's either worth commercializing or bringing to market as like a medicine or a therapeutic. And there's still ongoing studies for the PeptiStrong, which is the peptide network that was found in fava beans, which, fava beans have been consumed for a very, very long time. We know that these are safe. They've got GRAS approval status and stuff already. So, this thing was ready to go. It's just the only thing that makes this different is these peptides were found by a computer with a brain. And, sometimes they're right. And one of the things that they found about this is that it increases the ribosomal subunit S6, which is one of the main markers of like muscle protein anabolism. It's the ribosome is what makes the protein. And the other thing is that it decreases some of the catabolism signaling, and mostly through something called atrogen-1, which is an atrophy gene. And that's where we've got some double duty going on with the GG Gold, the geranyl, because that also hits on that atrogen, kind of pathway. So the idea with this is we wanted to create something that was a non-hormonal anabolic, but the fun side effect of it all is that it helps your body actually keep and maintain muscle tissue, even, theoretically in a caloric deficit. So, caloric deficit, yeah, but not a protein deficit, no. I mean, you're not going to be able to maintain that kind of tissue without bringing that kind of stuff in. But I really like the idea, because you were talking about Beba being involved. If you were doing some sort of cutting or weight loss stack, it would definitely be something that I would throw in there.
Yeah, I have such a hard time recommending muscle builders to people. Flight has been a kind of a godsend to me, because I really don't push any muscle builders, but Flight is one of those things that I like, because it pushes recovery.
Sure.
At least, right? But one concession I will always have is if you're in a cut, then a lot of these muscle builders could help preserve muscle mass. That's a claim that I can absolutely get behind and feel secure in saying. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of time I feel weird making muscle gain claims, because there's so many more factors to it than just taking a pill.
Yeah, maintaining muscle mass is half the battle, especially for as many customers as we have that actually do competitive shows and stuff, doing NPC and bodybuilding,
or even just getting ready for the beach or whatever. Just trying to lose some weight. I feel like I don't lose very much muscle, but I think a lot of normal people are worried about, once you get lean, actually holding on to that. So
I mean, especially those people who have the transient water loss with creatine usage.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, how am I going to keep my gains if I lose all this water? Yeah.
Just never stop taking creatine.
That could be part of it.
Remembering to take creatine is the hardest part for me, because I'm so focused on other stuff.
Yep. But yeah, I could easily see like Anomaly falling into like a weight loss tag with like, sliced thermal Zerion and still being, something that really works out well. You could even stack Flight with it, like that question we had earlier. It's totally fine. Like Anomaly can stack with essentially anything and still work.
So 2 stacks together. So 1 stack is a cutting stack. You get your thermal, your slice, your Anomaly and Flight to preserve muscle mass. But if someone's like, Joey, I want to put on as much god-awful amount of muscle mass as possible, what are you giving them from Glaxon?
I mean, probably going to be Anomaly, Flight, Xeno, and probably our new protein coming out.
Yeah, ton of protein. Like that's my biggest issue is on a day in, day out basis, 200 grams of protein is not easy to do.
No.
You got to love your steak, and you don't have to supplement, but it sure as hell helps.
Well, I mean, it'd take a whole bunch of digestive enzymes and stuff when you have that steak too, so you can get the most out of it.
Yeah, historically we did cook a lot of our meat in like papaya and pineapple, and there's like natural, proteases in there. So yeah, like consider that, or just take the digestive enzymes. Are you teasing something right now? Because I don't know of any digestive enzyme supplement from Glaxon.
Maybe the enzymes are built into the protein. That would be the cleverest thing to do.
Are we talking about that yet, or when's that?
If you're watching this video and you're very curious about protein from Glaxon, which you probably are, you have to wait for Michael to make it into the room. So
okay, yeah, right.
We'll hold off for now.
For us, this is like Interstellar. For us, it'll be about an hour. For you, it might be a day.
Space-time continuum.
Hans Zimmer is playing in the background.
Yeah, that's a sad scene.
It is, but if you remember the original launch of Glaxon, they used a lot of Hans Zimmer Interstellar music.
Michael's a huge fan of Hans Zimmer, especially the movie Interstellar. He's all about it.
Yeah. Well, we have a spaceman helmet behind us.
That's
literally
true.
all of it has to do with a lot of that.
Yeah, I love that movie. All right, so that is the lineup. Is there anything else?
Can you give us any kind of hints or details or anything else on the pipeline? I'm not pushing you at all. Totally up to you.
So if we consider what's going on today, we've got 2 products that just launched. If you consider the hype video, there were 8 that were circled in there. So there's 2 today. There's going to be... Oh, I remember the 8th one now.
Vegan and whey are actually right under the camera. So if you're watching right now, there's 2 right there.
We're looking at some plastic
Protein
bags.
sample packs are sitting right there. So that's 2 more. So that's 4. You've done a review on Cetox.
Yeah. Cetox is a big one too.
That's 5. 6, 7.
Yeah, if you need to cycle off of caffeine, then look for Ben's Cetox.
Yeah, it wasn't even like a review. It was a hilarious log.
This one hasn't launched, so NAD Synergy is definitely one of them. Yeah. Anomaly is definitely one of them. That gets us up to 6. Or, no, wait, that's 7.
And then were the others just flavors, or is it?
No. I'm talking about unique products by the end of the year. And the last one is going to be the new specimen.
Oh.
I have that slated for the podcast talk, but if you want to talk about that a little bit, we'll probably bring it back up in the podcast because I love your pre-workouts. But can you give us a little, this is a great question because a lot of people are like, I had this question a couple days ago. It's like, if Plasma Surge and Specimen are so good, like what else is there to do? Yeah. I don't think there's a Plasma Surge V3 coming, but Specimen V3, I mean, we all love Specimen. What else is there to do?
There's minor efficiency tweaks, like little things that bugged me about some of the ingredients that we'd used before. Not necessarily the technology, but just the way that we were delivering them. I've got a little chart or table up on my Instagram where I talk about certain efficiencies of certain things where there's room for improvement. A little bit more feel than we'd had previously, a little bit more euphoria involving a little bit more serotonin. And then I guess triple reuptake inhibitor, bringing that IV into it. So there's that. Like the mental feel and the neurotransmitter feel is going to definitely be more present. The other thing is the pump is slightly changed a little bit, but really that's just in order to make it a bit more efficient. But we don't know how heavy we want to take the pumps of Specimen V3 because we feel like it is possibly taking some of the teeth out of the stimulant. So we may moderate that a little bit more because we do have Plasma Surge, we do have Plasma Caps. Those also work really well. But we wanted to do something that was unique to the pump aspect of Specimen, so we're going to change that up a little bit.
Do you think maybe we could grab some of that Specimen before hitting the gym?
Yeah, probably so.
How much caffeine do you need?
All of it.
Oh my!
Oh, we haven't tried this.
Yeah, so
Team Blue.
I'm wondering if anyone watching this video is like, "Are these guys gonna try the Team Blue?" It's probably driving someone crazy right now. And if that's you, then I got your back because we're about to drink it.
I'll just drink straight.
Is this? Yeah. You don't need it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, I've had it. I've had it several times.
Natural color, I'm assuming, is like a spirulina.
Right, and then
That's
like
fine by me.
the Brain Factor 7 is like a little bit brown. We could have made it more blue, but it just kind of fought with that. But
I'll be honest, I like the blue more than the red.
I do too. Well, why? This is a blueberry. I got
Obviously,
blueberry.
yes.
And I'm lost
Blue
after
raspberry.
there's no raspberry.
I'm all blue.
Blue raspberry.
It's not blue raspberry.
Yeah, I'm all blueberry. And like an acai, maybe? Like,
Close. You're very close.
no, goji?
Lychee?
No.
Lychee?
You would know if it was lychee.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
That's
this tastes
fine.
like soap. It's a blue palm with a little gummy on it.
Gotcha. Okay. It's a strong flavor.
Yeah.
This is not for. And so the story is 4 scoops makes.
Could be the max at 16 ounces.
Right.
You'll have the max effect. You'll have the max flavor effect, and you're seeing
How
it.
much caffeine's in 4
No,
scoops?
no,
there?
look at
250.
Oh, our camera just went blank.
Well, we're still getting video.
no.
We're still
It's
getting audio.
okay.
Oh, we are.
Hold on.
Okay.
We're still recording.
Yeah, just give it.
Don't
give
freak
it a
out
little-
at home, people.
Give it a little love.
We're
tap.
still
We're
here.
Still here. And watch out what Joey's doing under the table. Oh,
back.
right, we're back. All right. And so I was just looking up the caffeine again. That was,
Oh, I was gonna show you
62 and a half. So 100 and yeah,
The
60.
dosage walk
62
through,
to
1,
125.
2, 4 scoops.
Ah, okay. 250 milligrams of caffeine in 4 scoops. Good math.
Good
Okay.
soup.
Scale.
Yeah, personal opinion. I'm team.
I'm team blue.
Yeah.
I'm team blue.
Really?
Well, so let me ask you this:
like
cherry.
blue.
How similar is this team red to the cherry tranquility?
Same flavor, but not as much. But there's strawberry.
There's some,
Strawberry.
I don't know. This one it reminds me a lot of that that cherry juice feel. Of
Ben does not like
tranquility.
cherry as much. You don't like black cherry, at least.
No, I like black cherry. I don't like normal cherry.
Oh,
But the
this is more-
tranquility cherry is great. But I think a lot of that is that like the gum that you added and like the experience of it.
No. It's just a bomb ass cherry.
Man's like, you're wrong. That's not the reason you like it.
The answer is simpler than you think. It's just a really, really good cherry. Like when I found it, I was like, oh yes, this one.
You got a good little cherry supplier.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, like,
These are things you don't share with other people, like or other companies, or.
sometimes
Oh, okay. That's,
it depends on who we're working with at the time, and sometimes they'll come to us with their own flavor specifications, their own vendors and stuff. We probably deal with 5 or more different flavor houses. Just to be picky and make things tough to reproduce and have all the options we could possibly have.
What's your least favorite ingredient to flavor?
Anything that's an herbal extract.
Right. Okay.
Anything that's an herbal extract and it has an effective dose over 100 milligrams. Is
You've been
just
pretty
like,
outspoken about not putting herbal extracts in your powders.
I don't like the idea. Well, and Brain Factor 7, it's the silk peptides and everything. It was easy to flavor. If it wasn't easy to flavor, it wouldn't be in here. And it's also a 400 milligram dose, which makes it a little bit unfeasible for a capsule. Granted, Anomaly is something, where the Pepti's stronger, there's got to be at 2,400 milligrams. I mean, that could have been something that was destined for a drink, but, it also tastes like fava beans and, I eat fruit flavor over beans.
I'm excited for Mike to try out Anomaly. I think like in your road back from your nerve injury and growing and becoming Mr. Olympia again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Anomaly would do
Yeah,
very much for me, but I think like
I'm finally able to do stuff without pain, and so that's my performance has improved. My like size obviously hasn't, and it hasn't. I haven't been chasing the food either, but yeah, I think I'm ready to get on that stack. Like
Where was this nerve injury that you had?
It was the brachial plexus.
Okay, so basically like your whole arm.
Yeah, so I atrophied. My pectoral just disappeared. I went flat.
Oh,
it was
my.
really the doctor who saw it. He said, "Wow." That was his response. And my right tricep, but it was the ulnar nerve, I think.
Yeah.
Took the
How did you injure it?
Jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
And
Did you bend it backwards, or what'd you do?
I don't know.
Okay.
Rookie going too hard and likely not tapping out quick enough.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know the exact moment.
In that particular application, I think that would be like an Anomaly Neuro 365 stack.
Awesome.
Because with like the long-term potentiation and everything, like part of that is, like I said, like making your neurons talk to each other more efficiently and, like having more broadband kind of access, across your whole body. I think that's like some of the general ideas we're trying to do there as far as like help with the peripheral nerve regrowth more so than the central. And the whole story behind lion's mane, effectively.
Right. Yeah. At one point, I was mega dosing lion's mane pretty good. Not mega dosing, but I was taking like 4 grams a day.
Yeah.
And
which is quite common for mushrooms.
Right. And so I was doing that for a while because there was one study about like nerve regrowth. But yeah, I learned it's gonna take us time, and I need to do a better job stretching. But yeah, I'm happy. Like, I don't know what a good time is, but I should have been like, all right, I got back under 140 for my 500 meter row on the Concept 2, and next I'm gonna get back down to 130. Like, okay, so I'm like, things are moving again, and now it's time to like at least chase a little bit of growth.
Yeah.
So
and to fine tune, and like the more you end up using that and doing fun stuff with your hand and all that, and just talking to it, and getting it moving.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Like,
talk to your hands.
there we go. Sounds good.
Are you right-handed?
I am.
Oh boy.
I didn't have any problems with the hand though. I mean,
Really?
there was tingling for a couple days.
Yeah.
But
Your bottom 3 fingers.
yeah, but that was not my concern.
I had an ulnar
And eventually the pain
complication
went
a few
away.
years ago.
Just-
If you have nerve atrophy, you're going to have muscle atrophy because the communication's not going to be there.
Yeah, but no, I was always able to move stuff. So
Okay. Well, yeah,
It was weird. It was-
those are definitely the two. We have some anomaly. We can send you out with some anomaly.
okay, it's not urgent, but yeah, I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think getting Mike big as possible for his YouTube videos is definitely urgent.
It would be nice. I mean,
Where you at?
okay. First, I'm going to be natty forever, and it's fine. But there are certain times, and I told you guys like a lot of people have body dysmorphia, and
We had a good
when
conversation about this.
Yeah. When I look at myself in the mirror after a good swim or after a good workout or like doing the row or like that kind of stuff, I like what I see. Like, it's just when I see myself on video and pictures, I'm like, I'm twiggy here and everything, and the joint areas and the forearms suck, you know. So it would be cool to slowly build it. I know, like, it is what it
Betaine
is.
anhydrous.
Through the skin, just in the
arms
forearms.
study.
Inject. Just give me some thought. No, but at the same time, like, yeah, I'm sticking to where I'm at and everything, and I'm middle aged at this point, dude.
Yeah.
I think it's a great question. This is not at all having to do with the pipeline, but something I would be curious for you, like as a well-known formulator in supplements and stuff, whatever. Like, do you ever feel pressure to be like the rest of the guys in supplements and care about your image?
You mean as far as like being like super jacked and everything?
Yeah.
No, because I already went through that phase of my life.
Oh, did you? Okay, that's funny. I don't
No,
I don't
like,
know that.
When I was like in my early and mid 20s, I was talking to Mike about this, about like dysmorphia and everything. I set a goal for myself that I wanted to probably get somewhere between 240 and 250.
Okay.
And I accomplished that. I want to say in like 2006.
Okay.
And I was super bloated and everything, but I got there. It's like climbing a mountain, touching the top,
Yep.
and be like, all right, I'm ready to go back
I did
down.
that with 280.
Yeah.
I wanted to be 280, and God, it was horrible. Like, it was so bad. I was eating so much food. I couldn't walk
You
my own
go
dog.
through a lot of toilet paper.
Yeah, I had to have my ex walk my dog because my shins would get pumped up if I walked for too long. I was that heavy. Like, I was huge.
It's not efficient. It's
No.
not efficient.
No, and you know what's funny is I walk between 260 and 270 right now, which is obviously not far from 280. But like, I feel better. I don't eat trash. Like, you and I were at that restaurant this morning. There were cookies, and I was like, no, we're good. Like I feel so much better, and I'm stronger without like pushing myself to the limit.
And sometimes that's just not really necessary. Some people like it. Some people completely thrive on that. They'd be like, I'm going to get as big as a human can possibly get. And that's totally fine. And like, and I was talking to Mike about this earlier, like I don't have the dysmorphia or anything because, you know, I got to my goal weight, I was looking good, and my whole plan was like, I'm going to get here, and then I'm going to coast it. I'm going to be fine.
So you don't have the dysmorphia because you have proven to yourself that you have accomplished it, and fuck it, you've done it. It's not that bad.
It's just a
Right?
game.
Yeah.
For me, this is no different than any other part of my life. I've never fit in really anything I've done. So the place where I fit in is with swimmers, and that's kind of where my body fits in a little bit too. So those are my people. So when I walk in, when we go to the Arnold Festival or we go to Mr. O, I just know I'm gonna have a weekend where I don't exactly fit in. But you know, we start talking to other ingredient geeks and everything, and it's fun. But I know that it's the industry, especially getting older, is like, yeah, these are not exactly my people in terms of like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I don't like quote unquote live the life. I love to work out.
Sure.
And I like to stay athletic and stuff, but you're not going to see me putting in like the crazy 2-hour deadlift sessions.
But
even though
everyone's needs change as part of their life cycle. You know, whether you have a kid or whether you touch the top of the mountain, you're going to coast, or whether, you're in Ben's situation, you're still on and off with competing. Like, as you get older, needs are going to change, and I think that's kind of neat. I think that's kind of neat because we actually are like trying to make products that can, pretty much address any point in a human life cycle. I mean, we're not like making kid and baby stuff yet, but as far as like 18 to potentially 60, I think we've pretty well got that. We're not making anything for like prostate or liver, any of those like more serious things yet. But as far as like general health and wellness, like kind of lifestyle stuff, well, and when you brought up swimming, I think that's really unique because a whole lot of people that are watching this and everything, they're really like the weightlifting bodybuilder kind of folks. But the people who do swimming, running, biking, triathlons, etc., are a completely different kind of athlete. And right now, there's not a whole lot of products that really address.
They don't buy supplements, so it's not really worth going down that.
I think it's a great point.
But what if you could really provide them some viable solutions that actually worked? Is like how do you get that in front of those kind of people?
Triathletes aren't going to buy supplements. Like it's been like that for 15 years.
Lance Armstrong can have the most complex doping strategy ever, but most of these people don't. They're not interested in supplements.
Not to the point where we're lining up 8 new products and people are getting excited.
That's true.
I think so. We have a lot of viewers that, especially with the Glaxon, and they bounce around different brands, sure, but a lot of people who just like they're runners, they're bikers, they piece together different parts of fitness. Appreciate the product so much. Like your Astrolite is kick ass for that kind of stuff.
Hybrid too. Both of those are really nice.
Yeah.
But there's other things I want to do in that arena as far as like doing more comprehensive things to decrease ammonia levels. So you can get better endurance out of it, or just overall mitochondrial products that are more centered around not just like aging and metabolic efficiency, but actual performance and actually creating more mitochondria. I think there's plenty of frontiers that are still left to be unexplored. I mean, Anomaly is something that's a non-hormonal muscle builder and really like I guess you could say like something that buffers against atrophy, which is a unique kind of skew in itself. No one's really got anything that really kind of fits that kind of mold where you're creating something that's to maintain, if not gain, muscle mass during times of caloric deficits and everything. I think that's a neat idea. But yeah, there's plenty of different directions that I definitely think that we can still go and still create some pretty viable concepts for. But yeah, the endurance world they're asking for it. It's just will they buy it?
Yeah, I don't know. I would leave.
I've gotten similar responses to what you're saying.
Yeah, I would leave it to brands like EndurElite, but if they were to say I need a couple of supplements, then I think you already nailed it with the Astrolite Hybrid, especially. I would actually pick Hybrid first. That's how much
because it kind of does what Astrolite does.
Change the battery pack, Ben. PricePlow.com/Glaxon. Subscribe to the channel, and we are going to continue with a new battery and have a podcast soon enough.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.